Batman. Good luck, Harry Potter.
Well, cover me with eggs and flour and bake me for 40 minutes.
Hello and welcome to ScreenMasters with me, Bav.
Me, Fluff.
And today we are going to be continuing our journey through The Expanse. The last episode ran a bit longer than we expected, so we didn't want to condense everything down and not do it justice. So today, after, I think we'll go through some bits and pieces we've been watching, maybe,
Sure.
and then we will move on to seasons 3 and 4 of The Expanse and, like I say, finish our journey through that. So yes, it's been a while, again, slightly longer than it normally is, actually. Mm-hmm. And over here in the UK, we are currently in storm season, because apparently we have a storm season now, and we name them all like the Americans do. So it's a bit stormy out there. Storm Dennis at the minute, as you're listening to this, is Dennis. Yes, okay. It was Kara. Kiara. Well, I would have said Kiara. But they didn't say Kiara. They were saying Kyra or something like that. It was weird.
Go with a C.
But anyway, off the back of this, I would like to turn today to the words of Jimi Hendrix.
Jimi Hendrix, okay.
Jimi
this I've got no problem with.
And he says, well, I just came back today. I just came back from the storm. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's Hendrix. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, that's fine. You may not like the one for the second episode, but we'll deal with that when we get to it.
That's...
So...
housekeeping.
Indeed. Let's do the housekeeping. Thank you very much. Where's my housekeeping page? There's my housekeeping page. So, as always, ladies and gentlemen, let's do the admin. You can find us on YouTube and on your podcast medium of choice. You can get all the links and information you need at facebook.com/the ScreenMasters, which has links to the Facebook page, the Patreon, to Apple Podcasts, Spotify. I can't think of any others right now. There may be more. Obviously the YouTube, we would love if you could go over. The link is bit.ly/bitebackYT. That's bit.ly/bitebackYT. I'll get better at these. These are new ones I've just created, so I'm fluffing over them at the minute. That will take you straight.
You're watching?
I'm fluffing. Oh yeah. Okay, I'm fluffing the line. Yeah. Yeah. You can go over there and you can get to the YouTube channel and you can leave us a subscribe if you would like. You can watch the video versions of this podcast. Again, we have another change of scenery. We're slowly improving things. We have a lovely little desk here, and our posters behind us, and our shelf. And we will bring some more movie-related stuff for the shelf next time.
Yeah, I don't think either of us.
We weren't aware of it this time, so we will
Rangers.
make sure. Yeah, none of the Power Rangers or the wrestling figures are mine, actually.
No.
So we will bring some cool stuff next time. So keep watching this bit if you're watching the YouTube version. It should keep changing, and there might be some fun stuff. If you want to support us more directly, you can go to our Patreon, which is bit.ly/bitebackpatreon. That's bit.ly/bitebackpatreon. And obviously, as always, the bite is a computer bite, not a food bite. Think that's everything?
The two subscriptions are what was it? $2, $7, and $20?
Yeah.
No. With tiers of $1, $10, and $15.
Head over there and do that if you would like to. If not, please just go and do the YouTube thing. That would really help to support us. And Wayne, I apologise for what's just happened. So let's move into
one more point.
Oh, of course. Let's not move into what we've been watching now. On the 29th of February, as you're listening to this, it should be before that date, I think, because this is supposed to go out next week. So, on the 29th of February, on, I believe it's the Facebook channel, or it might be the YouTube channel, but have a look. Biteback Media will be doing a 24-hour live stream to raise money for the studio and for the network itself. If you can log in and join us and tune in and see what's going on, please do. Watch the social medias and that, and the posts will be going up. It will be through Biteback, not through the ScreenMasters, because Biteback is it's the whole network thing. It's not just us that would be doing it. But yes, 29th of February. Have a look out for that 24-hour live stream. If you can join us, that would be great. Is that it?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Now I'm done with my admin. So, how have you been? What have you been watching?
Thankfully my voice is back.
Yes,
Thankfully,
and I
it's-
feel mine's starting to go.
Yeah, but
there we go.
we've got that good crossover point.
Exactly, yeah.
Which is fine.
I'm just coming down with it. You're just recovering. It's fine.
Fine. But I've watched a lot. Have you?
I've watched a bit actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't watched half as much as you because I've been playing more Atlas. But you know, Atlas is a PC Steam game that we both like to play anyway. But
Yeah. But no, well, I needed to get. It was the Oscars, you know. As soon as you suddenly hear some of these, you're like, okay, yeah, I need to make sure that I get the time to watch them, even if they all talk bollocks when they accept their awards. So
how many Oscar contenders have you got on that list?
well, 3.
I see
That was-
2.
no,
What was that nominated for?
best screenplay.
What, Jojo?
No, Jojo won best screenplay.
Did it? Oh, I didn't
Yeah.
know that. Oh, fair enough. Sorry, I haven't caught up on the Oscars. I know Parasite won, but that's about all.
Yeah,
I
no,
know.
Jojo Rabbit won best adapted screenplay.
Oh, fair enough.
So yeah, well, there we go.
So-
I've watched Jojo Rabbit. For those
So
of you
have
who
I.
didn't know. Yeah. So let's discuss
Sorry, go
Jojo
on.
Rabbit then.
Go on then, you say.
I love this. I
Okay.
really, really love this. Now I know that this has been a bit. A few people have liked it. A few people haven't. Those people that seem to have enjoyed it, similar to myself, have really enjoyed it, and those people who haven't enjoyed it have just kind of gone, meh, it's not for me.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not quite as polarising as I thought it would
No.
be. It seems to be that if you're not on board with it, you're just a bit not on board with it,
Yeah.
not hating of it, you know? But yeah, those that do seem to like it do seem to have a very, you know, it seems to invoke a very strong reaction. That's what I'm
Yeah,
trying to
I
say.
mean, I really enjoyed it. I thought the performances all round by all of the cast were absolutely fantastic. Even, I hate to say it, even Rebel Wilson actually got a chuckle out of me on many occasions throughout the film. She's completely ridiculous in most things that I've seen her in, and I never find her entertaining. But shit, I found her entertaining in this. I will admit that. Scarlett Johansson's just fantastic in it. This is one of those films where I forget she's a good actress, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
We see her in so many actiony things and this, that, and
Yeah,
the other.
Black Widow, she's good as Black
Yeah.
Widow, but it's Black Widow, isn't it? It's not a hugely challenging role for her, I don't
No.
think, all the time, is it?
No.
There's not always the depth it needs within the films and things. But then again, she did stuff like Under the Skin, which was it was an incredible little film, and she was so good in that. So, I don't know. I've always thought she was a pretty darn good actress, to be honest, but I know that a lot of mainstream may not because of the mainstream work she does.
Well, I mean, she was nominated for a Best Actress and Best Supporting Actress. So the fact that she's up for 2 awards, yeah, okay, right. Maybe give her a bit more kudos than. But I love this film. Absolutely love this film. I don't know. How about yourself? Oh, okay.
I'm
moving on.
not... Okay, let me read what I've written, right?
Okay.
So the first scene starts, okay, and I don't think I'm giving away any spoilers here to describe the first scene, but the first scene is a little boy, Jojo, talking to Hitler, as if it's some sort of, as if he's his dad almost.
His imaginary
Hitler's
friend.
his dad.
This is imaginary friend.
But I didn't get that at all for the first scene. For all I knew, because I knew nothing really about the film, I didn't want to know what the plot was even really. I just sort of wanted to go into it a bit blind. For that entire first scene, I thought I was about to watch a film about Hitler's son training to be a Nazi.
Oh, okay.
Because I thought that was his dad and that was his son.
Okay.
Because it's not until the second time you see him that you get that you go, oh, it's in his head.
Okay.
Sort of from the second time you see him, it becomes very clear that it's in his head. But I certainly didn't get that. Maybe it's just me, but from the first scene I didn't get it. When the first scene finished, I turned to the good lady teacher indoors and went, I'm not sure. I think I've got to turn this off.
Oh.
Because I was like, I'm not on board with this.
Okay.
Because seeing Hitler doing the rah-rah speech with his son, going, yeah, go, I was like, I'm not on board with this. But when it then became clearer that the Hitler character was a figment of Jojo's imagination and Jojo's interpretation of him, I settled down a lot more. Because I was like, oh right, okay, so you're not actually saying that Hitler was like this. Because that's what I found quite upsetting, that you would think, that you would portray Hitler as that sort of character. As almost a loving father, a nurturing father, which maybe he should be portrayed like that in fairness. I don't know. But I wasn't on board with it. When I realised it was a figment of the imagination, I did settle down with it quite a lot. It's either an incredible impactful, important piece of cinema, or it's a meandering, unfocused, tonally jarring mess.
Okay.
And I really, 2 days removed from watching it, I couldn't tell you where I sit on the fence, to be honest. Because I can see it from both sides. I think some of the stuff he's doing in there is absolutely cut me to the core. Got me on all the feels and was tugging at all the heartstrings. But then I did feel that some of the moments, the moments of comedy that he put in there were jarring to me at times. Now, whether they're supposed to be or not, I don't know. But all it did was serve to bring me out of the experience when that jar happened. And it didn't happen a lot, admittedly, as the film went on. The first scene is certainly, for me, was the worst culprit of it. But it did... Yeah, I'm still not sure. I think some of what he's done in there is incredible, but then part of me thinks, well, if that's the point you were trying to make, why didn't you play it straight so that it was respected and that it got seen by far more eyes or far more, you know, people that you were trying to make the point to would watch it. Being a comedy, people can treat it as, people can dismiss it. Because it's a comedy. So
I wouldn't class it as a straight up comedy.
No, it isn't a straight comedy.
And that's the thing. I think the humour in certain places fits the tone as it should in certain places. The seriousness is impacted in the right places. The playful creation of letters from the guy's, the girl's boyfriend is meant in jest, but at the same time acts as a serious impact. Again, the performances of other characters within it. Damn it, the
Don't worry, I've got
actors.
them all written down. So
okay,
we'll get there in a minute.
Okay, who's the actor that I'm probably thinking of straight away here?
Jojo.
No, not Jojo. The captain.
Sam Rockwell.
Sam Rockwell. Thank you very much. That's been
With
bugging
his-
me for that. I'll be sat here going, damn it. Sam Rockwell is
Rockwell.
absolutely
He's amazing
phenomenal in this. In both the comedic points and the serious
Well, there's
points.
that bit where he first meets the mum, and the mum walks in and kicks him in the bollocks, and he's just on the floor going, yeah, that's fine, I'll do that.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
Yeah, there's also...
and then when he goes on to potentially help the cause later on, and the big bit at the end with the his outfit, because you see he's designed his own outfit, and it's basically a big pride celebration outfit, basically.
And then suddenly at one point there appears to be a closeness. Now it's certainly hinted at by me that there's a closeness between him and Alfie Allen's
I think
character.
that's there, because there's that bit in the scene where they sort of stop and look at each other for
just very fondly.
a few beats too long.
Yeah, exactly.
And it goes on. And then when you see them at the end and they're both in the big outlandish regalia, I was like, fair enough.
Yeah. But no, I mean, for me, the film served its purpose in the right places. Again, whether this is the film for me or for you, I think it certainly found an audience with the history of Jews within that Nazi regime and what happened to Germans who were Jewish and things like that. I think the people who impact that aspect of it, I think they're going to find the representation there well done.
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't say, I think it does. That's the thing. I do think it treats everything fairly and balances all the arguments and stuff. I mean, Sam Rockwell was awesome. Stephen Merchant as the Gestapo. He just looks exactly as I would imagine a Gestapo officer to look.
Just the Heil Hitler, Heil Hitler, Heil Hitler, Heil Hitler, Heil Hitler.
You know that's going to get clipped and used. And funnily enough, Rebel Wilson was okay.
I know.
I'm not normally a fan.
No, and neither was I.
Yeah.
You know, she comes out with a line, oh yes, I've had 18 children, no problem.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, throwaway line, but hilarious.
Scarlett Johansson was good, but the biggest plaudits for me
the two kids
go to Roman Griffin,
who's
Jojo, and Thomasin McKenzie. Oh, sorry, Roman Griffin Davis. His name was on the second line, so I didn't quite get it. And Thomasin McKenzie, who is the... Oh, what was her name? I can't even think of her name now, because she ends up being called his sister's name.
Yeah.
Anyway, the Jew who's living in the side. And they're incredible young stars. She was in The King, that you discussed the other week, as the Queen of Denmark.
Yes.
And Roman Griffin Davis, his first acting credit. What?
Yeah.
Do you know how old the boy is?
11?
12!
12, there you go.
12!
Yeah.
He's fucking 12 and he can act that well.
There you go.
Jesus Christ.
But this is it. You see some stars like this, and then you see the trajectory of where he could end up. But we've also seen child stars who've ended up doing absolute shit after, pretty little age.
Yeah,
so we'll see.
For every Macaulay Culkin, there's a Haley Joel Osment. Absolutely.
Okay, yeah.
And yeah, those two, I mean, they're the core of it when you get into it. Because that's the other thing I think we, both me and the good lady teacher struggled with, was knowing where we were going. Because it starts and we're going into the Hitler Youth Camp, and we were like, oh, okay, so we're going to do this. And then after 10 minutes that comes to a stop, and then we jig off somewhere else again, and now the story thread's over here. And then it takes sort of half an hour-ish, I think, really, before it boils down to what we're actually doing. And that's what I mean by the unfocusedness, that you could see it from that point of view, because it is over here and then over there and over there. And really, the plot is 6 months in the life of Jojo.
I don't know whether it was 6 months.
Whatever.
Yeah.
It's more of this person's story of their life at that point than it is we've got to go over here and pick up that and do this.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's also getting to the final stages of the war as well, which again I think is a huge impactful point within it,
absolutely.
which is why Scarlett Johansson's character is the way she is and things like that. I mean, as most of the films that I've been able to watch this week, that's the one that kind of really was kind of top of my list.
It's stuck with me a lot. I will agree that, like I say, because I have the only nitpicky issues I have with it is Taika's written dialogue in there. It was Taika the writer, wasn't it? Taika Waititi?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's based on a book, but he's done the adapted screenplay.
There's modern dialogue in there that wouldn't have existed in 45. Now, if Hitler was saying that modern dialogue, I'd let it go because he's a figment of the imagination, but it's the child that says it. And particularly, there's one line I wrote down, I'm massively into swastikas, he says. Well, a 12-year-old kid in 2020 would say that. A 12-year-old kid in 1945 wouldn't. Because massively and even massively into, they weren't phrases that existed in the common lexicon. And again, all it did was just pull me out of it for a second and maybe go, oh yeah, I'm not in 1945, am I? I'm actually in 2020 watching a film based back then. And I just feel, just don't do that with the dialogue. Just make it that you don't have to say, I'm massively into swastikas like that. What would a child of that day and age have said if they were a fan of something or if they were very much into something, I'd just rather have used different dialogue. And also, I wonder about the accents. I think the accents go a bit from some people at times, because like Rebel Wilson sounds South African at points, and Rockwell kind of goes in and out a bit. And they, it's that thing we've discussed before with things like Death of Stalin, Chernobyl. They just went, no, we're not doing accents. You use your natural accent, and it's just based in Russia, and that's it. So I wonder whether I might have been happy with it if they did that. But that's a nitpick anyway. Okay. So yeah, next.
So another. I'll mention another couple very quickly because
I've got one that I'll mention quickly. But go on.
So Knives Out, which I know you've seen previously. Really enjoyed it. Didn't have high expectations for it. Oddly enough, I'd heard very good things about it, but I was a bit dubious. Daniel Craig, I will go on record as saying I'm not a huge Daniel Craig fan, but his southern drawl, oh my, it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Benoit Blanc.
I mean,
brilliant.
it's fantastic.
Yeah. And he's having such fun with that.
He really is. He's having fun with the film.
Yeah.
I think after doing Bonds and run around like a lunatic, to be able to do something like that, I think it's probably
a bit more pensive, a bit more laid back, and a bit more intelligent.
Yeah,
you might say.
Ana de Armas, I think her name is fantastic. I've seen her in a couple of other things. She was in Blade Runner 2049 as the AI in that. I thought she was very, very good in this, playing up that role of she doesn't really know what the fuck is going to happen to her. I thought that was very, very good. The other actresses involved, very enjoyable. Chris Evans clearly relished playing a clean-cut individual for a change, which was quite good.
Yeah, he had some shades of grey to him, which was nice.
He did. So that was really enjoyable. The Two Popes, which I know you're not going to watch because...
you know what, it's actually... I will, because the good lady teacher keeps asking.
Fair play.
So I've said, okay, alright, but it's one of those ones where we need to, I'm not going to watch it on a Saturday night when I just want to turn my brain off and watch Die Hard, you know what I mean?
Sure, yeah, okay, yeah.
You need to be in a little bit of the mood.
No.
And we were both in the mood this weekend, not for that, we were both in the mood to watch something a bit more intense and a bit more thinky. That's why we went with Jojo. because we knew that was probably, because of the subject matter,
Yeah.
we knew it was going to challenge us a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, I know you're not a big religious person, so I wondered whether that would hinder your...
Oh no, but I'm still fascinated by it.
Yeah, I mean,
I find even though I'm not religious, I find religion absolutely fascinating.
The performances by Anthony Hopkins and Jonathan Pryce are absolutely phenomenal. Jonathan Pryce certainly earned the nomination for supporting actor, and he's absolutely fantastic. I really enjoyed that. Again, as somebody who was raised, Irish Catholic, I know a little bit more about the church and things like that. So this was not as religious-y as I thought it was going to be, but it's nevertheless still enjoyable. Jay and Silent Bob reboot.
I haven't watched that yet.
Which
the last one left a sour taste in my mouth, which is why I've not watched this one yet.
All I will say is that if you're a fan of Kevin Smith's, especially the View Askew stuff, the Jersey, whatever the hell he called it, quadrology or whatever.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. Watch it. You will find enjoyment in places. Don't get me wrong. I was a bit like. I will say that we're now at an age with HD. Some of them do not look good on HD. They have not aged gracefully. Jason Mewes in particular, but we all know that he's had some issues with drugs and things like that. This is, I think, a love letter for Jason Mewes getting clean. His young daughter appears in there as well, which is quite cool. The fact that the main actress in this is actually Kevin Smith's daughter, who does a fucking phenomenal performance, I must say. So I was very impressed by that. I'll say no more because I know you do want to watch it. And the only other thing is to mention Picard, but you're probably not. Up to
I've only watched 2 episodes so far.
We can't talk about it.
Yeah,
thanks for that.
2 episodes
We really wanted to talk about that, but can't.
Well, again, we were going to watch Picard yesterday, and then actually we watched Jojo instead. So.
Oh well, that's fine. How about yourself? Anything more?
I was only going to mention 1917. I've seen that since we last met, and by holy fuck, that film is just something else. It truly is. I've never seen anything on, because it's like you start out, or I did anyway. Maybe just being a critic and being more, because you did film at thing, and I lived with a lot of film guys at uni. So we're into that sort of thing, and we look at those sort of technicalities and the editing and the shot choice and that sort of stuff, and we pick that thing out a bit more. And I spent about the first half an hour looking for the cuts, because it's done as one long continuous shot there with no edits is how it appears. In reality, they shot it in about 10, 11, 12 minute blocks and then found the edit points. And in the first half an hour, I think I identified one wipe cut, because a piece of wood passes in front of the screen as they're crawling, and I was like, there's a wipe cut. You've done a wipe cut there, I know that. But I couldn't see anything else. But then after the first half an hour, I realised, don't
stop analysing.
But I didn't need to do that, because the film by that point had hooked me and was pulling me along. So I didn't actively have to go. I just stopped looking. I just stopped and just started enjoying the work. But then every now and then there are shots, and you find yourself just coming out for a second and going, wow, that's incredible. How did they do that? There's a bit where they go around a crater and the camera, because again, the camera's just moving all the time with them. The camera doesn't really stop very much. And the camera, they're going around the edge of a crater like that, around the edge, sorry for audio listeners. They're going around the periphery of a crater, and the camera seems to just pass straight over the middle of the crater that's full of water, and the water doesn't move. And I know that there'll be technical ways, but in my head I was going, how have you managed to stop the water rippling as the camera's going across? That's really clever. But and that's what I took away from it on the technical aspect is, I couldn't have made that film, fuck no. Because I don't even know how you go about putting it together in your head, knowing that you're going to have every shot following on from the next with no clear edits. Wow. And the final sequence is incredible. But the story, the plot, the characters, they all just drag you in. Everything is fabulous about it. There's no one element of it that I could pick out. Because like I say, on a technical level, it's incredible. I've never seen anything like it. On a plot level, yeah, I've seen stuff like it, but the plot is really good. And it's really simple. And then it's driven by excellent, well-rounded characters who you identify with or sympathise with. I'll just throw some names out. The main 2 lads in it are George Mackay and... I've just realised I've written Tom and Baratheon. That's not his name, is it?
No, that's the character he played in
That's who he was in Game of Thrones.
Jesus Christ. You can't even distinguish between an actor and a character.
You know what the thing is?
Do you call yourself?
You know what the thing is? I watched the whole film and was like, shit, I know that guy. What's he from? And it's because he's got his natural hair colour in it, so he's got dark black hair.
I also believe
and
he
it's
popped
his
up in
face
The
that I
King.
recognise.
I believe he popped up in The
could
King
have
as
been.
well, yeah.
Apologies, I need to look his name up. But yes, I've got him down as Tom and Baratheon. But then you've got people like Mark Strong, who gets introduced from by his boots. You see his boots first, and you hear the voice, and you see the boots, and you go, "Oh, that's Mark Strong." It's brilliant. Andrew Scott is in there as well, right at the beginning. And look, I've done it again. I've written Doctor Strange, but I know who Doctor Strange is now. So Benedict Cumberbatch is in it too.
What
I don't know. It must have been late at night when I was making these notes of people, and I've just written down the wrong thing.
You can't put the fictional characters down.
No,
That doesn't work.
Or if I do, I need to go and look them up. But yeah, all those top line guys are in it for 5 minutes. No more really, and they don't come back again. They're sort of little cameos dotted throughout, and then these two young lads are the ones we're with the whole way through. So they're driving everything, and yeah, I think they're fantastic, and yeah, I think the film is an absolute masterpiece. I really do.
Yeah, it's
on every level. I think it's incredible.
It's not one I've sadly been able to get to the cinema yet.
Yeah.
I'm
No,
hoping
I know.
that it will still be. I think it's still be out at this point. I'm hoping.
Yeah. Okay then. Shall we go for some expansing then?
Sure. Let's continue our voyage through the Expanse.
Indeed. Where's my notes? There we are. So I had a couple of extra notes based on the last episode.
Sure.
Look, casino bollocks. That'll become relevant later. So the Expanse. Now, in the previous episode, we did not credit the guy who plays Ashford.
Sure.
So I've written his name down.
Sure.
So we can do it. So I apologise to you personally, Mr. David. I don't know. Is that Strathern? Strathern or Strathern? Strathern. Hi, David Strathern. You're not listening, but sorry, bud. You're amazing, and now you're getting the credit you're due. So yes, I know I've got another little note, but that becomes relevant later on. So I am all good to go. So where did we leave off at the end of season 2, my good friend? Where did we leave off?
Okay, right. So the end of season 2. We're part of the way through the search for May. We've killed a hybrid, and basically Avasarala, Bobby and Cortair are stuck on a ship with Jules Pierre Mal, and he kind of wants to kill them. That's kind of where we left off at the end of the season.
Okay.
So season 3, right? So let's quickly get through this because there's a lot to get through for these 2 seasons. Again,
yeah, I think we've both got quite a few notes.
Yeah, I mean, especially season 3 because it is split in 2 halves. Again,
it's
very
definitely a game 2 halves. That one.
It is very much so. So we've got, as I say, the search for May is continuing. Right. So we've got Bobby and Avasarala who were stuck on the ship with Cortair, and what do they do to get out? So again, Bobby, being the Marine that she is, goes up through the bows of the ship and blah 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 blah, and gets them off. Cortair has been shot, so he's now injured at this point, which kind of sucks. But again, there's this brilliant moment where he passes out, and Avasarala basically just jabs him into his wound to wake him back up, and it's just that. He's just like jarred awake, and he's like, yeah, okay, thanks very much. Like, and she's just like, you're not passing out on me. The fuck do you think you are? Brilliant. Again, her just shooting the gun as well a little bit later on at Bobby because she thinks it's somebody coming, and so she misses every single shot. Yeah. But it's like, yeah, you tried at least. Yeah. So they make their way to another ship, which is there, called the Razorback. Mm-hmm. Which, now the Razorback, again, you may not recall this, only because I've read the books. The Razorback is actually Julie Mao's ship.
Yes, I think they explain that a little bit afterwards, don't they?
Yes, so it's something that she keeps talking about at point in season 1. She's talking about the Razorback and how she has to fly the Razorback. This is her ship. So this is Julie Mao's ship, which becomes a little bit more prevalent a little bit later. Of course. So as we're going on, the guys are off on their journey now, and they've decided they're not going to abandon Prax. They're not going to abandon the search for May. Holden acknowledges that he wasn't doing this for the right reasons. He wasn't helping Prax for the right reasons, but he will now. Which kind of rubs Naomi the wrong way, because it's then revealed at the end of 2nd season, which we didn't bring up, that she'd given their sample of the proto-molecule to Fred Johnson.
Exactly.
Which rubs the rest of the Rossi crew very much the wrong way. They all believe in what Holden does and that they want to help Prax. They've made a promise to help him find his daughter, and that's what they're going to do. So at the same time as they're on their journey, all this shit with Avasarala is kicking off. Now, again, I'm not going to go too much into the intricacies of this because I do want everybody to watch this show. Watch the show. Amazon Prime. Thank you, Jeff Bezos. I've got to give him at least a plug, an episode.
Oh, no, that's fine.
That's fine. So as it comes about, Avasarala and Bobby on the Razorback intersect with the crew of the Rossi. Which is something, again, at this point I'd read the books, knowing that eventual meeting was going to happen, Avasarala finally meeting James Holden and the crew of the Rossi. There's a whole spin about how that happens and they're defending them and blah blah blah. It's just brilliant. They recognise the severity of what's going on because they're like, hang on a minute, this ship that's in trouble is the Razorback. Wait, that belonged to Julie Mao. They know the long history of this, so it becomes ever more prevalent. This just becomes a brilliant point because, again, Avasarala suddenly becomes a temporary member of the Rossi crew. Again, as we talked about with the gravity boots, she gets a little bit of a lesson on how to use gravity boots and stuff like that. Again, just reinforcing that as somebody who is born down the well, as they like to call it. So that carries on. The Mars and Earth ramping up of the conspiracies carrying on. Everything is beginning to unravel. There are so many little elements going on around the system now. We've got an admiral now taking charge of the flagship of the Earth military, because guess what? He's part of the conspiracy and he's going to go and collect these proto-molecule soldiers, or the hybrids, as you correctly labelled them last time. At the same time as this is going on, the crew of the Rossi, much to Avasarala's annoyance, is still on their plan to go and rescue May. Which is absolutely right and fitting as to what they need to do. So that's where they head, and that's what the next stage is. As you explained in the last one, we also see Jules Pierre Mao developing these hybrid soldiers, and the intricacies of the CGI and how they're developing that is just fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we touched on it last time, didn't we? Saying about how good the CG was. Let's have a look. I'm not sure he's going to be able to put anything just here. So we couldn't have a little image. Sorry to audio listeners, I'm waving my hand about and looking at the monitor. Maybe you can put them down here on this bit. I could be poking heads. That could be me poking a hybrid's head. I don't know, we'll see.
Okay, that's
You can have some fun with that.
Wayne will have a bit of fun with
the
that.
The CG is very good. Because again, at this stage, season 3, it was still sci-fi produced, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
And again, the thing I realised we didn't say last time, my point of saying it was sci-fi produced was to make a comparison between that and Stargate, which produced all of the sci-fi produced all of the seasons of Stargate.
That's correct, yeah.
And again, that looked like a TV show.
Yeah.
Inside out and backwards. It didn't look like, cinematic like a lot of TV shows do in the modern day. Even Atlantis, what was the later one? I called it SGB for Stargate Boring.
Stargate Universe.
Thank you, that was it. Oh, Robert Carlyle, what a waste.
Yes,
God.
we'll touch on Stargate at some point in the future, I fear.
What a waste.
Yes, but never mind.
Anyway, yes, they totally changed it up for that one, and they went very much more cinematic. I actually think they borrowed a bit off Battlestar Galactica, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
Which in itself borrowed off 24, really, with that sort of quick cut zoom in and out.
Yeah.
Keeping it dynamic. 24 was a big fan of that in the early days. I don't know what the point of this was.
You were talking about the CGI.
Just got lost. But yeah, the CGI is good. We know that. Carry on. Bring us back on track.
That's fine. So, the story, as we're discussing it, Mr. Bath, is so they go to a certain location to find May.
Yeah.
They also realise at this point, okay, we're screwed, because there are a shit ton of these hybrid soldiers there, which becomes part of the point for Bobby as well. Point of revenge, a point of finally getting one up against one of these hybrids as well. So again, she's now in her full exoskeleton armour, being the badass that Bobby Draper is, which is just brilliant, because that's it. She, they get in there and she just, that's it. I'll take this on. You go rescue the kids. I'll deal with this, and that is just wonderful because it's so fitting with the character. Again, won't give too much away. Will she live? Will she die? Alright, she lives. To to give it away too
Have
much.
I got notes about her in season 4? Probably. So.
So
We'd have given that away
Yeah,
anyway.
we'd have given that away anyway. But again, this was wonderful little battle between the pair of them. Again, just in fitting with Bobby and with the proto-molecule soldier itself, which I thought was just fantastic. They find May, which again has been a massive... Again, from going the end of season 2 to this point, it's like, my God, we've been searching for May this entire time. It's taken a very long time. It didn't always necessarily feel as though that was where we were leading.
Yes, no, absolutely. I had notes on that from... when I came back to try and watch season 3 in the first place, I realised I had no fucking idea where we were. Because I couldn't remember where we'd ended. And like you say, we'd started at the middle of season 2 trying to find Prax's daughter, May, but then we divert off and we do the hybrid thing. And then the end of season 2 is them getting rid of the hybrid that they're immediately dealing with.
Yeah.
And then we course correct back onto the main arc of the book, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, it did jar for me a little bit when I started, which is why I had to go and watch a couple of recaps or something for season 2 to go, oh yeah, this is where, yeah, right, and then we're over here, but now we're going to go back, fine. And then I was okay to come back into it again. So that deviation did confuse me a little.
Yeah.
But very quickly in season 3, as long as you remember where you were, it pushes it on and goes forward from there really. So there wasn't a problem.
So and as this is all going on, they're finally getting closer and closer to May. At the same time, there's shit kicking off above them in the system because you've now got Earth ships firing on each other because there's mutinies and whatnot. Koiter is stuck on the Agatha King, which is in the middle of this whole battle zone as well. There's a beautiful, wonderful scene with him. Again, not going to dwell too much on that because I want people to watch this stuff because it's great.
On that, I will say that I made sure the description for the first part, you read through it and then it's like, stop reading this, go and watch Expanse, season 1 to 4, and then come back.
There you go.
So I have tried.
Yeah, thank you. So all that this is going on as well. Mars is obviously still up in the system as well, watching this whole display go on, and they're watching, Earth ships blowing the shit out of each other. Then suddenly a bunch of rockets suddenly appear. The hybrids have been launched towards Mars and this, that. So there's all this shit kicking off all at the same time. Now, obviously, that situation resolves itself. How? You'll have to watch to find out. But at the same time, we've got the reunion of Prax and May, which, granted, is going to spoil a big chunk of that. But it was going to happen. But it also leads to the crux of a great friendship between Prax and Amos, which is touched on very much so more in season 3 than it had in the latter stages of season 2. Yeah. That great friendship between the two of them, that Amos will not let Prax go down the wrong path.
Yeah, I've got that here. Amos scene, episode 5. He stops Prax shooting. I've written DB Strickland, so this time I've...
It is Dr. Strickland.
Is it Strickland?
Yeah, it is Dr. Strickland.
Oh, Dr. Strickland, sorry, yes. Yeah, stops him shooting Dr. Strickland, says, you're not that guy, leads him out of the room, and then turns and shuts the door, and Strickland is like, oh, thank you. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. And then he's like, I am that guy.
Yeah.
Fucking brilliant. I love that man.
Yeah.
But like you say, that's the real, the brute character, the traditional two-dimensional brute character would just have gone, yeah, you get out, I'm going to kill him. Or, just, give me the gun, I'll kill him.
Yeah.
Because when the guys... But Amos is deeper than that. He's got more layers to him, so he's like, no, you're my friend. I'm already down this path. I don't want you to join me. Keep yourself away from it. I'll do the dirty work. It's okay. Yeah. And I love it. Absolutely love him. I'll also say, I've got another note. I know we're coming towards the end of his bit. Aaron Wright, which I thought was his name. I thought his name was Aaron Wright. No. It's only in the last week or so that I've seen it written down. His name's actually just Aaron Wright altogether. So his name's like Savitar, I want to say, or something like that.
Savitar Aaron Wright.
Yeah, okay. But at this point, he's my Joffrey. Mm-hmm. I wanted to see that man dead.
Yeah.
Like I haven't want to see anyone dead since Joffrey in Game of Thrones.
I've not really touched on him because it then makes me have to talk about Elizabeth Mitchell, who I really don't much care for in this series. As much as it is an integral part of the show, an integral part of the plot, that things get revealed and leaked and and she's at the front of it and so is him. It's just this one side of the series I couldn't give two shits about.
Yeah. I love Aaron Wright, the character, but like you say, as soon as Elizabeth Mitchell came in, I tuned out a little bit. But you know, he'd been building and building and building over the first couple of seasons, and you know, is a shady character to start with, then is an outright dick in the second season, then continues to build on that in the third season, and that's like
you think there's a moment of redemption,
and that's it. That's why.
That.
But like I said, by season 3, I was just like, he's Joffrey. He just has to die.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't deal with anything else. This man has to die, and he has to die soon.
Yeah. But then, as we get to the middle part then of this third season, Naomi makes the decision at this crux to abandon the Rossi. She needs to go back to the belt, which is understandable. Mm-hmm. There are good reasons.
Like we said, they were laying some seeds.
Yeah,
they've laid some seeds towards the end of season 2, and then they laid some more seeds, and like you say, decisions that she made at the end of season 2 and around season 3, and just starting to sort of split them and cause the fraction in the crew, wasn't it? Now, before you go on to explain what happens in that second half, I've got to be honest, I've got beef with that whole bit.
Okay.
So, I think it's episode 5, and we finish the Prax story.
Yeah.
We come back for episode 6, and I just feel like the gap's too big. I felt like I'd missed 2 episodes.
There is a period, yeah.
Because it just finishes the Prax arc, and the next one starts, and Naomi's gone. Yeah. She's on another ship.
Yeah.
Prax and May are gone. Yeah. There's one line, I think I've said...
Amos talks about
not only have Prax and May gone, Draper's gone as well. Bobby.
Bobby, but she does appear on video screen with Alex.
Admittedly, but she's not in the crew anymore.
No.
She's just gone.
Yeah.
Naomi's gone. Yeah. Back in. Now I had the biggest beef with. Why has Naomi's voice changed? Naomi was coming out of her broken English. And then in one episode, suddenly she's back to totally broken English, talking like the rest of the film.
But the thing is, now, as somebody...
Is there a time jump? That's what was going to be my question.
There is
and
actually...
I don't think the TV show shows that. I think that episode needs to start with a 6 months later or something.
This is it. There are... In fact, within the actual scope of the book series, the distance between here and here is not an episode's length. It is actually months. There is a huge problem with trying to display a massive time period within the confines of a drama series like this. Yes, maybe they should have turned around and gone, okay, 6 months later. I think it's a given that this person is here, that person is there. A prolonged period of time has transpired. Now, as somebody who, and you've pointed this out to me in the past, when I call my mum, for example, I slip back into an old northern accent. It's just that unconscious thing. She's back with her people. She's slipping back into that. That's how I foresee it, because she's just...
I get that. Yeah, I just feel that I should have had a month then.
Sure.
I don't... Because for us, as viewers of the product, we finished one day, and the next day we're starting in completely different surroundings. Now, again, I get that's... I assume we got a book break there. We're the end of one book. That's the third book.
Because there is actually a period of time where, which we don't, and hasn't been covered at all, which is when they actually journey back to Earth with Prax and May. And there's this, Amos is just playful and stuff like that with May, because you're like, of course, Amos is going to, have fun with the kid. So there's actually a really cool couple of sequences where they go back to
So that would have filled that gap, and Naomi would have been
gap.
off over here doing her thing, getting her accent back, while they're going back and forth. And
again, her leaving is slightly changed. The time frame for that is slightly changed as well. I understand where they needed to do it, but that whole 6 months later, but at the same time, I'm one of these people that hates that crux of, here's a scene, 6 months later.
I hate it as a device. Here's my point. If you put that in a mid-season, if you put that at the end of one season, we finish Prax, and I come back for the first episode in the next season and everything's changed, you don't need to give me the passage of time.
The problem here
because there is a passage of time. And again, with a book, you don't need to say, we pick up our story 2 years later after the last book, because there is a natural gap between the books being written.
But then when you go from...
You accept a passage of time in that point. But because we were in the middle of a season, it just jars me. That's
whereas it's less jarring from end of season 3, beginning of season 4.
Exactly. Because there is a time, time has passed, a good bit of time. But we don't need to know, because we've had that gap between the seasons that sort of naturally creates that in our head. But again, that's the best I can do.
That's right.
I keep thinking about this stuff.
Going, that's right, I can deal with that.
I keep looking at this going, we're being too, there's got to be some criticisms here. And I'm just like, I can't really find it.
We criticised Elizabeth Mitchell and that whole nonsense. So, there's some criticism. So as season 3 had progressed as well, we also got from the hybrid kids that were being transformed, we got this sense that something was being built. And then finally that suddenly appears, and I mean, Amos delivers the line better than me. At the very end of that, is it episode 5, where he just like, he suddenly appears on the video screen. He's like making all these kids some like cereal and stuff, and he's just like, the fuck is that? And you see this huge honking great thing, which turns out to be a ring gate. Which then becomes the second part.
Because we've been tracking the ship, haven't we?
Yeah, we've been
at
tracking.
little points, we're going back and we're seeing this big ship that came out of Venus.
Yeah.
That's some sort of weird spaceship,
Yeah.
and it's just going through the solar system,
Yeah.
and we don't know where it's going or what it's doing. Well, it's not doing anything really, is it? It's just sort of floating along until
it turns itself
into the ring gate. Yeah.
Well, and then we get a whole thing as to why that's activated.
And
again.
then we're back round to Stargate.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I saw it and I was like, well, shit, that seems reminiscent of something.
Mate. No, there's no fucking dialing sequences or any of that shit.
No.
I don't need the 8th chevron to get there.
So now this ring gate, which we eventually discern is what it is. Now Naomi has now left the Rossi and she's now on the Nauvoo, which will later become Medina Station.
Medina, that's right. Yeah.
So she's now effectively the chief of operations, where Drummer is now kind of in charge of everything. Mm-hmm. We get the introduction of Ashford.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, fantastic guy. Again, bit of a gruff guy, badly scarred, like clearly gone through some shit as a belter. He's a veteran. He's not necessarily going to go in line with everybody else's idea as to what
I
should
think they
happen.
do a really good job of that. I've got a note, and it's in season 4, but I think it's relevant in this bit because, like I say, this is an introduction. But I think right from the start, they always make him seem suspicious. Mm-hmm. The whole way through with his character, I was like, are you the bad guy? Like there's an arc with a pirate in season 4, and it's only a subplot really, but for most of that I was like, I think it's you. I think Ashford is the pirate and he's doing all this to break the OPA up because he doesn't agree with it, or he's not getting the command of power he wants.
Wait until you get to find out more about that person.
And But the character never goes that way.
No.
He is always the good guy. And
well, I mean, we have issues with
he's
him
got
later
shades of
on.
grey. He's got shades of grey, but
he
he is not. He's never. I can't think of a situation where he's the one who's made the wrong decision or the bad decision or has been the dickhead that everyone thinks he's going to be. Because even with the politics on Medina that come into it and the sort of power struggle between Drummer and him, and you think he's the one instigating it, and actually it turns out that he doesn't want the power struggle. He's quite happy where he is. He just wants his voice to be heard and to be able to have a discourse with the captain about an issue.
Yeah.
And for that voice to be heard. He doesn't want the position of power necessarily, and he's not going for it. But it's his subordinates, or the people that follow him, who think he should be, so they're the ones pushing to try and get him into command. But it creates a really interesting dynamic on that ship.
So we've now got, at this point, we've got a little convoy of ships which are heading towards the ring gate. One of those ships is the Rossi, because they've been hired by some agency to, some news agency or whatever, to go to the ring and be their guide, so to speak. So they're on the way, they're being interviewed and everything like that. Again, we see Alex talking to Bobby, so again we get a little throwaway that Bobby is now back with the Martian Marines. She's back doing that kind of side of things. We don't really see much of Avasarala at this point for this half of the season, and I understand why, because her part has been utilised in the early part of the season. I'm glad she comes back in the next season, because if she didn't, I would have screamed blue bloody murder. But so we've now got this convoy of ships going towards the gate, but at the same time we've got, who we don't realise at the time who she is, we've got a character called Melba, who turns out to be Clarissa Mao, Julie Mao's sister, and Jules Pierre Mao's eldest daughter. Now she's got a bit of a hard-on for James Holden, basically because she blames him for the destruction of her family, etc., etc. Not necessarily entirely unjustified.
No, but I do think she should be looking at her father.
Yes, exactly, and that's it. So she becomes part of this whole thing and goes through a conspiracy to basically pin the blame on Holden for a number of problems, which forces them to go through the ring gate a little bit earlier than they would have anticipated, which now we're suddenly in this huge globe of space which nobody really understands. It's this purple space.
Yeah, it's just like a
null
big
space
sphere of nothingness, isn't it? With a sort of
central point in the middle.
At it,
but what is the biggest point at this? Before all this even kicks off, we get the return of a very, very amazing and wonderful character in Miller.
Yes.
Which, now, as somebody who'd read the books, knew that this was coming. The first time I watched the episode that he returns, I did shout out loud. Yeah, I was very happy at the return of Miller.
You popped.
I popped. Yeah, I popped because I love the character, and I think Thomas Jane is great in this role as well. So again, we get a return of Miller, who begins to explain to Holden what this zone is, what this planet is.
Does he?
Well,
I don't think a lot of the explainy comes till sort of season 4.
No. But he basically emphasises that we need to go there. That this is somewhere we need to go. You need to help me turn a switch on so that I can figure things out.
It's all a bit broken and garbled to start with, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
when he's talking to him, it's almost fragments of sentences that he's trying to put together, and he doesn't really understand it.
No, it's emphasised a little bit more in the book, and they try to do it on screen, but it doesn't necessarily do it justice. Essentially, what it is that every time he's trying to reach out to Holden, he's getting destroyed and being rebuilt, and then destroyed and rebuilt. So every time he's going through this cycle, that he's reaching out, trying to find something and getting destroyed. Reaching out, trying to find something, getting destroyed. So he keeps being recreated to the point where that's why he keeps getting annoyed by the voices and things like that.
Because he's got in his head
everybody that survived. Well, I say everybody that was essentially absorbed by the protein molecule. So there's a whole thing there. But again, it's going into this slow zone. Again, we touched on the G's and the force and things like that. A bigger issue happens there that all ships are now stuck.
Yeah, and going back to that, after obviously we listened to the first part again not so long ago, but yes, I get what you're saying, and yes, you're right. The doom and gloom and this is a death sentence was in that zone.
Yeah,
and that's why it was a death sentence, because at that point they didn't know how to get out of the place they were in. Because again, when it's really happening is a bit further on, where they're being dragged into the orbit of the thing in the middle, so they can't move anywhere. So the ships are just being slowly dragged towards a central point, and they have no ability to move anywhere and get out of the pull of this thing in the middle. So yes, that is why they use the line. They treat it as a death sentence in that scenario, because there's no possibility of escape from the situation, which means there's no possibility of gravity. So I do get that. I concede the point on that.
That's a rarity. But so we've also got obviously the power struggle on the Navoo because of everything that's going on. Drummer gets injured, saves Ashford's life, kind of at the expense of injuring herself.
Is that the bit where they're both crushed
against it?
I loved that.
Yeah, it's a great interplay between two characters just stuck in that
because again, that's the bit where you're like, oh, he's going to use this opportunity to kill her off finally, so that he can get, and he does every fucking thing in his power to make sure that he's the one that dies, so that she can survive. Yeah. And it's those bits in the characters, you're like, you've tripped me up so much because you've painted him as this guy, and actually he's that guy, and he's been that guy all along.
Yeah. So good. We get Naomi beginning to realise that the Rossi is her home, the Rossi is her family, and that she's made a mistake.
Yeah.
Holden eventually gets arrested because of a set of circumstances. And they finally meet up together, and they have to emphasise that we can't just destroy the ring gate, which is what Ashford at this point wants to do. He sees it as the only way to save humanity by destroying the ring gate, that he will just save everybody else. And Clarissa Melba suddenly becomes an integral part of that, having attempted to kill Holden and been stopped by Elizabeth Mitchell and people, but we won't go there. She becomes a little bit more integral to that point, and gets a bit of a relationship beginning to build with Amos as well, which becomes a lot more prevalent a lot further on. Eventually, we get the opening of the gates, and it's then Holden's. It's that again. We touched on the sci-fi and the special effects. It's that shot where every single gate opens, and you just see spots opening up everywhere, and you suddenly see 1,000 gateways to 1,000 different star systems.
It was all the stuff as well when they're going, because Holden has to go out of the Rossi down to the core that's pulling them in, and then the Martians come down to that core as well to try and stop him, don't they? And that's how he ends up with Bobby again. But that whole bit looked incredible. And again, they're floating in space to come down to the thing, and then inside that planet, the set, I guess it must have been, I don't think it was all CG, it looked too good to be CG. The entire set CG. It looked like episode 2, wouldn't it? So it must have been a real set, and it looked fantastic. It looked really good.
So that's pretty much runs into season 3. Again, without revealing everything that happens, because everybody watch it.
Yes, go and watch it.
Please do.
So yes, the end of season 3. We've got the one ring gate. We've gone into there to this big sphere, and then within the big sphere, loads of other gates have popped up, leading to God knows where.
Yeah. And this is very important now because this is where I thought, shit, this is it. This is the end. We're never going to get an Expanse again. And then greatly, Jeff Bezos came back and saved it.
Oh yeah, yeah. Thinking about it, if I'd have watched
go.
season 3 when it was actually out and then had it cancelled underneath me, I'd have been like, no,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah, now you know
you
how I
need
felt.
to tell me what's here.
Yeah.
Actually, I'd just gone and read the books, but yeah.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Which I probably should do anyway.
Yeah, honestly, I've got them all. They're fantastic. Right, okay, so we've now got, rolling into season 4. Now we've got a slightly changed way that the style has slightly changed a little bit.
Slightly, yeah. I don't think it.
Not dramatically.
No, I don't think I dramatically noticed it. But like you said, there's just a couple of bits where I was like, oh, I see. Yeah, and it's just the way they do things, isn't it? It's just, I guess it's a different production schedule or something.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
So we've now got, the ring gates are open, and Illus becomes the focal point for this series. A planet which is through one of the ring gates, and this is going to become the focal point from now on for the rest of the series. Excuse me. So the Roci is at this moment in time at Earth, which is great because it didn't happen at the end of the middle part of season 3, because I know that there is a little bit of a situation there where they do go back to Earth, and Holden does go down and see his family. So it's great to see that here. Yeah. The fact that Naomi can't, because again, as it becomes a little bit noticeable later, she can't really deal with the gravitational weight. So she at this moment in time can't.
Yeah, because Holden sort of says has invited her to come and meet his mum, hasn't he? And she can't because he doesn't want to put her through the chemical process that is painful and nasty so that she can cope with the gravity.
Yeah. So we've got Alex. Again, I think he's in communication with Bobby, who's now back on Mars. We've got Amos, who's now built up a rapport with Melba, or Clarissa Mal, or Peaches, as he calls her.
Yes.
Now, again, there is a little bit more to that relationship than is actually revealed in the TV series. It is in the books that the journey back after kind of dealing with the ring gate here and then going back to Earth, they effectively take her as their prisoner back to Earth. But she builds a relationship with Amos because she feels bad for everything that's happened, and so they actually build this great relationship, which may or may not, in future seasons, become prevalent as well, which is great. So we've now got Naomi, who is now accepting that she wants to do the bone density stuff because they get a mission to go to Illus, which is exactly what Miller has been pestering Holden about. Miller, at this point, is still around, which again is brilliant because.
And is it at this point where he's clearer? Yes. And he explains that he's clearer because
they've opened the gates.
They've opened the gates and there's less stuff stopping him. He's having to go through less walls to get to it.
Exactly. So we've now got Avasarala and the Politics of Earth. She basically commissions Holden to go to Illus because some shit has kicked off there. Great. Holden's really excited finally because Miller has not stopped pestering him because he's the only one that can see and hear him. He's driving him a little bit crazy. Now, we've got Mars, which is beginning to fail and is no longer pulling itself together, as we kind of see from Bobby's perspective. Yeah. Now that the ring gates are out there, why does anybody want to spend the time and effort terraforming Mars when there are plenty of planets out there which already have atmospheres and which already have plant life, etc., etc., etc.? So Mars is slowly but surely winding down.
Yeah, or they feel like it's dying, don't they? Because people are going, well, I'm not going to bother anymore. Then Mars was the new frontier, and the Belt was then the new frontier, but no one really wanted to go to the Belt because you've got no gravity and it's a bit nasty and you're living on ships and stuff. So we want a planet sort of thing. And then, there's 1,500 other potential Marses out there. So everyone's like, oh, well, fuck you, Mars, you're dickheads. We're going to go and have one of these other ones then.
And this is where the power struggle begins because everybody suddenly wants to go to these new worlds, even though they haven't been investigated. It's like, well, is it safe? And Illus is the prime example of this. Now we've got a bunch of former Belters, I think, and whatnot, who have made landfall and have basically turned this into their home. Now, a corporation arrives, which is run by, say that this particular faction is run by Mercury, or our good friend,
Gorman.
Mr. Burn Gorman. Hopefully we can have wonderful picture just up back up here because it is fantastic. I have seen it now. So Mercury arrives on Ilus. There's sabotage there. So why else would James Holden be sent there in the first place? There's danger. There's a problem. Let's send James Holden.
Yeah,
why not? So we've now got, this is a new planet with new dangers. So before anything even kicks off, literally the moment that they arrive. Now, Naomi is going through the bone density drug treatment, which is clearly very fucking painful, and Dominique Tipper, to her credit, does this so well.
She does.
That view of being in absolute pain and having a reason behind it is just, really
she does some great acting in this series to convey the emotions of a person who's trying to hide something that's destroying her from the person she loves because she wants to do it for the person that she loves.
Yes.
But it is ruining her at the same time, and how do you cope with that? And I feel that most of that comes across through her facials and through her body language. Like, there's very little dialogue that explains any of that to you, but you take it away in every scene that she's in. Yeah, she has a conversation with Alex basically saying, don't... Yeah, that's it. I think that's the only time she actually references it to anyone, and other than that, it's just you're watching the way she's reacting to stuff.
Yeah. So we've got Miller basically, as soon as they arrive at the planet, or they go through the gate, Miller up and disappears because he's over the other side of the gate, and basically just starts switching shit on the planet, which does not really go well for the rest of them. We have these bugs which suddenly appear out of nowhere and swarm them, and as soon as these bugs attack, they suddenly all begin to pass out. Then we get, lightning, which is suddenly being struck all over the planet, which is causing problems. Again, because he's turned the bloody machine on. So Miller, for all his credit, he's trying to figure stuff out. He's giving them no end of grief.
He's causing them shitloads of problems.
He causes an explosion on the other side of the planet. And it's like, okay, it's about to destroy this entire settlement that's been here for a good while, and there's a bit of a power struggle between you guys and you guys anyway. Doesn't really matter, because the whole thing's going to be fucking destroyed.
Yeah. It's kind of what it is, isn't it? Because you've got the Belters who have landed on this planet and sort of colonised it for themselves and started to live there. Then what's the name of the team that got Mercury's team? I can't. They have a.
They do have
an acronym, don't they? But I can't remember what it is.
They do. I should have made no. But
it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I wrote down Tom and Baratheon instead of the actors, so it's not a problem. So and then that faction comes down and they're like, no, we want to take over this planet because
this is the contract we've been given.
We've been given a contract for this planet. They own it like anyone owns space. But again. This is still prevalent in the modern day, no one owns space, but you damn sure the Yanks will try and take it, or the Chinese will try and take Mars if they get there first, you know it's going to happen. And it's the power struggle between those two, and then like you say, the Rossi comes into this and just starts fucking everyone over, unbeknownst to them, because as you say, they're just like, let's do this, and we're here to do this mission. What the hell's going on over there? Oh, Miller may have done something.
It's like, I'm turning up to be the mediator, and I'm taking charge, and I'm saying, you're not in charge, and you're not in charge. Effectively, I'm in charge, except for my invisible friend in my head is turning on the planet, and we're all going to die.
Yeah, he's causing shit, man.
So, as a result of this, they end up having to take refuge inside a structure, which has clearly been there for millions of years, showing the civilization of the proto-molecule people that was about long ago, and they're not there. Literally every essence of the proto-molecule civilization is dead. Whatever the hell was there has killed every aspect of it. And this is what freaks Miller out, because he's trying to turn things on for answers. They end up taking refuge inside this alien structure. We then get the bugs reappearing. Everybody's suddenly going blind because of what's actually within the water. All the rain that is dropping everywhere. Basically everything within the system is basically causing them to go blind. All except one person.
Good old James Harden.
Yeah, James Harden. Of course it's James Harden. Now, obviously we don't find out a little bit later until why.
But that's again where I think the book... Sorry to cut you off there, but
sure.
This show is so good because it is based on her book. Any other show would have introduced that because they're like, right, we need everyone to be blind, but he's the only one that survives, and they wouldn't have fucking bothered probably explaining why he was the only one that survived it just because he's Holden. Whereas going into this, they knew damn well what was going on, because the crux to it they show us in the first episode of season 4, just to
Precisely.
remind us, just put it
Just
back
to
in your
remind
head.
you.
Back in your head.
Just to remind you.
Don't forget that, will you?
Yes.
And then, yeah, it becomes relevant towards the end of the season. You're like, oh yeah, because you know what you're fucking doing, because it's already there for you.
Yeah.
And it's what makes it such a great show. I would like to pull back before we go to
No,
the
of course.
big bit.
That's fine. There's a couple of other bits that we
in
haven't talked
episode
about. Where else?
3,
Sure.
the scene with, because Moultrie and Amos do not get on.
No.
They are not friends.
No.
And I like Burn Gorman trying to be a hard man, and I mean, he scared the shit out of me, I'll be honest, in a totally different way to the way Amos scares the shit out of me.
Because he's actually, as fucked up as it is, he's got valid points to many of the things that he's saying.
Yeah. But it's they sort of have that one killer to another scene in the bar on Illis or New Terror, where they're talking about it, and the tension is brilliant, and the dialogue between them is incredible, and then the tone just changes. The tone just changes entirely, because Moultrie's like, I think you and I are going to end up bloody. Yeah, I think you and I are going to end up bloody. And Amos says, how about now? Free right now.
Yeah.
And then they're like, no. And it's like, they're just so good. And the tension in that sequence I thought was fantastic. And again, it's just another example. This is why Amos is my favourite character, because there's so much to him. You can't put him in any box to say that this is what he is. This is the archetype he represents. Because I just don't think he fits perfectly into any category.
No,
because they've made him such an interesting character.
And he was his section of this. So as everybody's beginning to lose sight, they're within this environment, this trapped environment, that everybody's beginning to lose their sight. He is one of the people which freaks out more than anything else. He is literally panic-ridden, because without his sight, he does not feel like he can be helpful to Holden. He feels like he's become a burden. And you see this massive depression suddenly hit him. So again, we've got the ups and the downs of Amos Burton, which is just fantastic. At the same time as all this is going on now, Naomi realising she can't be on the planet, and Alex finally admitting that Naomi shouldn't be on the planet. Alex and Naomi are now in space, trying to save one of the ships, which effectively is losing fuel because of all the shit that Miller's been doing. But at the same time as everything here is going on, which we'll come back to because that kind of is the crux of majority of the series, let's just quickly jump back to what's been going on in the rest of the system. So we've got Avasarala, who on Earth is effectively in the throes of an election. And we get the introduction of the replacement husband. We won't say any more of him because he was shit.
Yeah, I think we discussed last series that we don't like.
We don't like that we changed him. Avasarala is great, but she doesn't seem to have as good of a foil to go against. The other individual who she's pitted against in terms of the election is very good for her to bounce against. But in terms of other individuals, no. It's she had Cortair before. She had Bobby Draper before. She had Aaron Wright before. She's had, and in this, she doesn't really have anybody. Still great to see her. Still great to see her swearing like a champ, as she should do.
I've got my only criticism of season 4 is the Earth politics. I could have done without that entire storyline, because essentially it's a re-election storyline. Now, yes, in the process of the re-election storyline, they start to uncover a conspiracy, which I'll let you cover in a second, but it's essentially just a re-election storyline.
It is,
and
but
I could have lived without that entire thing, but then there'd have been no Avasarala, and I like her too much. But I've written here, but is the only one I cared about in that storyline.
Yeah,
because you've gotten rid of her foil, Aaron Wright.
Yeah.
The new foil, she's all right, but she's the goody two shoes person who's coming in to clean up all the corruption, and that's her pitch for it. So there's no. It paints Avasarala as the bad guy then, and I don't want to see Avasarala as the bad guy.
No, and I think this is it's important to note within this, like as Avasarala herself says, at no point does she want to become president of, of Earth or anything like that. She was always the backseat person. She was always in the shadows.
She was always the puppet master. I saw.
Yeah, exactly, and she needs to return to that role. Instead of being forefront and centre, she needs to do that. But at the same time, the importance of that storyline was to emphasise. Don't be suddenly jumping through every gate to try and take on these planets. Can we fucking control this and take this one at a time? Can we assess whether it's safe and secure? She knows this by sending Harmlet. She knows more than anybody else what the effects of protomolecule is. So there's that whole thing with her re-election, which is fantastic. As we obviously going on, Bobby is on Mars, not having the best of times. She's come back. She's been pretty much shunned from being a Marine now because of the actions that she's taken, because she's defended Holden. She's now seen as a bit of a traitor. She kind of rubs in with the wrong crowd, trying to defend her nephew to begin with, and then eventually becomes a cohort within this whole underground movement, basically trying to steal supplies, sell them to make a bit of a profit, which begins to show the seedy underbelly that Mars is pretty much done. But that's also uncovering a huge conspiracy, A, within the Martian government, within the Martian military, but also outside of that, with the belt as well. Bobby, by the end of this season, finally acknowledges the fact that there's shit going on, she can't do everything about it. Who does she contact? The person who she always thinks she can rely on is Abrasarala. And Abrasarala's comment is just like, Bobby, you could not have picked a worse fucking time. Which is just brilliant. Just watching those two interplay, hopefully in the next season, will be great.
Yeah.
We've also got another sub-story.
Because isn't it? Sorry, right at the beginning, the Abrasarala offers Bobby a job, doesn't she? Right at the beginning of season 4, and I was like, yay! And then she says that, and I was like, oh no!
Yeah.
Come on! Yeah. Give me a.
Yeah. But by the end of that series, she's like,
exactly.
No,
so then when she does accept it, I'm like, yes. And like you say, I'm now excited to see where we're going next season then with that little thread.
We've also got, as you mentioned as well, we've got Ashford, who's dealing with a bunch of OPAs, kind of splintering off, attacking various colony ships and things like that, who were heading towards the gate to try and get out of the system, to try and colonise.
And these are the pirates that they've been looking for most of the series in the
and
background.
they're like, okay, and we suddenly get a name, Marco and Arius.
Yeah.
Who, now, again, you won't know, but as soon as certain people mention the name, as soon as Ashford hears that name, he suddenly peaks up because he knows that this is an important person within Naomi Nagata's history.
Right.
This individual is the former lover that she left behind
with the son.
With the son that she could no longer see.
Right.
So we've heard various sections of this. I think through the first series, she turns around to Fred Johnson. She's like, "I'm going to do this for you, but at some time, I'm going to give you a name, and I want you to help me find that person." And that's a little bit later revealed in this, that she gives him a name, and it's her son's name. Turns out that Marco and Philippe, his son, Naomi's son, are part of this whole piracy thing. Now, we'll touch on that as, I think, the last point, because that's the crux for season 4. We'll touch on that last, but they've got a plan in motion. Sadly, it does end with the death of Ashford, which I'm sure both you and I were absolutely gutted about. Justified in the storyline because of the fact that where he is and things like that. Yeah, you're going to say that's right.
A little bit now. She reminded me that Ashford's dead. We've got no more Ashford.
So Ashford's now dead. Sorry, we're ruining it a little bit there. But at the same time, it plays well into the story that it is.
Yeah, but no, he might come back as a Force ghost, like Miller.
So, sadly, you done over yourself?
Yeah, go on, I've recovered from Ashford.
Okay, right, so so Miller is finally pushing Holden towards investigating this dead spot that he's found, which basically killed the proto-molecule itself. Well, that's a big thing. What the fuck can kill the proto-molecule given all the crazy stuff that it's done? Yeah. We get to see Miller become a machine. Again, some wonderful CGI.
The bit where he's got the spider leg thing. And he's got the... Yeah, that was cool.
Again, in the book, it's a little bit more played because there's a longer journey and basically Holden kind of rides up on him and ends up kind of falling asleep in him as he's running. So there's this cool little thing. Yeah, but it's cool. Finally, Miller, God bless him, finally disappears and dies, or
Who is it? Because it's a girl who puts him in the end, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
Holden gets pulled away from him.
Yeah, it's the
by
doctor
Murtry, isn't it? Because Moultrie's coming after him.
Yeah. So there's a doctor who's been kind of figuring things out and stuff like that. Again, a little bit of a difference to the character that she is portrayed from in the book. She develops quite a bit of a crush on Holden throughout.
Right, I see.
But they kind of
so that's why she followed him into the zones that
So they kind of do that. Now, eventually, this basically kills whatever the hell is causing the problems on the planet. The planet basically stops self-destructing, as we might say. And everybody kind of comes out and everything's kind of back to where it is. They take Murtry prisoner. And he gets locked in a room with Amos, and well, we won't say any more on that because everybody's imagination.
Because at this point, Amos has been shot by him, hasn't he?
He's been shot by
Amos
him.
Shoots his he shoots Amos's fingers, doesn't he? Like when he's holding the gun. Because that sequence towards the end of that bit, I was just biting my nails the whole time because I was like, if you kill Amos, like seriously, if you kill Amos, I am going to fucking write a very strongly worded letter to Jeff Bezos and tell him to bring back Amos.
Okay.
But thankfully, that maybe didn't happen.
Yeah. So, Miller is effectively gone now.
Yeah.
Everything's calmed itself down to a degree.
Mm-hmm.
They acknowledge that there's still a lot of shit that they don't know. But the Rossis as a crew, the family's reunited, which is important. Which is
absolutely.
very, very important. So that's where we leave the Rossi crew. Now, before we finish, what are we going to sign up for in season 4? Well, what are we left with? We're left with the revelation.
Season 5.
Season 5, my apologies, sorry, season 5. We're now left with the revelation that Marco Renarius, who is a very, very bad man, is all I can emphasise, he's a very, very bad man.
Yes.
Very, very bad man. Has now taken it upon himself, having taken supply of some stealth technology, which is where Bobby was getting involved in with the whole Mars conspiracy. He's now got Mars stealth technology.
That's right.
And he laces up some asteroids.
That's right.
With the intent of sending them towards Earth.
Yes.
That is where we leave season 4.
Because Bobby is uncovering the criminal thing with the girl and the bald-headed fella.
Yeah.
Who's the head of the head gangster.
Yeah, he's a police officer and stuff.
He's one of those faces.
He's been in so many
I'm
things.
sure he's one of Jack Bauer's
Nemesis
higher ups or something that turns
yeah.
out to be a baddie in one season of 24 or something.
Yeah, he's always a duplicitous bastard.
Thank you. Yeah. Good word, duplicitous. What a lovely word.
There you go. And yeah, that's how it is. So how do you feel now that you've got to that point in The Expanse?
I adore it. I really do. The only other note that I haven't said so far is sad to see Miller go, maybe. Because maybe I've seen him go, maybe I haven't. I don't know. Because the proto-molecule brought him back once in that sort of Force Ghosty type state, so maybe they can do it again if they want to. Obviously, I don't know whether they do or don't.
I don't want to say yes or no.
I don't think we should.
No.
But yeah, I'm absolutely on board. And like I say, it's funny, isn't it? Because I'm sitting here saying, this show is so good because it knows where it's going because of the books, and it can pay off what it sets up because it puts them all in perspective and stuff. And then you go, well, why didn't Game of Thrones work then? Mm-hmm. Why is The Walking Dead shit? And I mean, Walking Dead is that one we could deconstruct.
I think we'll get around to series that we wanted to
where
like,
it could have gone,
and
where it would have gone.
Season 1, fantastic.
Yeah,
after that, get shit.
Because Darabont went, right, well, I want to do the beginning bit, but then I'm going to deviate off, actually, because I don't want to just be hitting this point and that point and this point and that point from the comics. Mm-hmm. But I love the world you've created, so I'm going to go and play in the world with the characters. And that was great. Mm-hmm. But the problem is, once you've done that, and you deviated, and then the second showrunner kept deviating, then the third showrunner is a talentless prick, so I was like, oh, well, all I know how to do is just hit the beats of the comic book, so I'm going to go back to the comic book. But then the problem is, because you deviated, you've either killed characters off, characters haven't got as big a role as they should have, don't exist at this point in the story yet, and then you're going back to the comic book and you're trying to tie up all those beats. But then when this thing happens, I'm not going to care, because it should be that character that's involved in it, and you ruined that character and killed her off 3 seasons earlier, so why the fuck do I give a shit now? And anyway, I'm not going to rant about Walking Dead. I'm really, really not. And I'm not allowed to bash the desk.
You just did a 2-minute rant, so that's enough for now.
It's fine.
We'll get there one day.
I'm not going to bash the desk. I'm not allowed to. I'm actually going to sit on my hands. No, I love it, man. And I assume they're doing Series 5, you said? Yeah, so that'd be good. I really look forward to that.
Now, as I could be mistaken, as I understand it, it was picked up for Season 5 before even Season 4 was done.
Yeah,
so basically, I think Jeff Bezos did a private show and went, I fucking love this. Keep renewing it until the damn thing's done.
Yeah.
And as long as that happens, I will be ecstatic.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, as long as keep making something that Bezos likes, and hopefully we still like as well.
That's the thing. It's not like the quality of this show didn't deteriorate. It actually changed itself and adapted to those changes very, very well.
Yeah.
and I mean, it's
and again,
going to
it
be,
shows
you know,
the love that everyone must have for it, in that they were able to pick everything up from sci-fi, lock, stock, barrel characters, you know, cast members are all right, apart from Avasarala's husband, which is a shame, but never mind. But, you know, the main core crew and everyone, they just picked it up and threw it on Amazon instead. And again, the sets are still look the same to me, so I'd assume they took the same sets off
that's it,
sci-fi and just went, yep, we'll buy the set off you.
Yeah.
So we don't got to rebuild it, and yeah, they haven't changed anything dramatically. Tell you what I did think of though, right at the beginning, I think it'd be halfway through season 3 actually, is on our CG thing, the animation and the way they show the slingshot racer. Like when he's doing his slingshots, the set for that is fucking cool, because his seat is on runners that runs from the front to the back of the ship really freely. I really liked that. I thought that was really clever for a thing that's in there for, what, 15 minutes?
Again, you said about passage of time. He actually emphasises that passage of time, because we've got
quite
him
right, because he does. He's bearded.
Was it well bearded?
You're absolutely right. Yeah, I did. Yeah, because we start at the beginning with him flicking around Jupiter or something, and then he flicks himself off towards the ring gate, doesn't he? And then we pick him up at the ring gate. But yeah, the set for him there, the practical effects is fantastic. And then when he goes through,
I was just about to say that web,
because that is the first time we know that there's a speed limit, essentially, isn't it? But the way they do the blood and everything just flying out of him, but then freezing in space almost, it was so cool. Looked really good, and they did it from 2 angles as well, didn't they? Because we saw it from inside, and then he's like a modern, like I suppose a 200-year in the future YouTuber. Yeah. So he's got a selfie cam at the front of the ship recording what he's doing, and he's talking to the camera and posting to the media networks or whatever that exist. And it gets splatted right into his camera. But yeah, I thought that was a great sequence that I just wanted to point out. But yeah, I love the show. It's one of those ones you harped on about for a long time, and I'm very glad I got into it in the end, because it is right up my alley. A really, as I said in the first episode, a really meaty sci-fi. There's so much to get your teeth into.
That's it.
With themes and and plot and character and all the things that you want from a good TV show, basically.
So thank you everybody for joining us on our voyage through the Expanse.
Indeed, yes, it has been a wonderful voyage. We've seen many great things. Now, let me just go back to the little admin before we sign off. Just excuse me a second, because I need those special new links I've created and can't remember what they are off the top of my head. So we'll start by saying go to the YouTube channel, which is bit.ly/byteback.yt. That's byte as a computer byte, not a food byte. If you want to donate, go over there, like it, subscribe, comment, whatever. We check it all. It's all good stuff. And you can go to the Patreon if you want to be more direct, and that is bit.ly/bytebackpatreon. bit.ly/bytebackpatreon.
With tiers at $3, $9 and $50.
Yes, that's absolutely bang on. Yeah. All of those links, if you want a more direct place, is facebook.com/the-ScreenMasters. Send us a message. Tell us what you think of The Expanse. Do you like it? We had a little comment this week that there's a listener out there that's keen on it. Hi, Sarah. Thanks for the message. We hope you enjoyed it. But yeah, go like, share, subscribe, blah, 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 blah. Tell your friends. Also, I would like to mention at this point that coming in March will be probably to coincide with the release of Disney Plus. We will be doing a YouTube only podcast essentially on The Mandalorian. And that will release around the 22nd of March when Disney Plus launches in the UK, to try and obviously capitalise on some of the traffic that will be going around for that. So if you're interested in that, keep your eyes open on the YouTube channel. Again, go subscribe, hit notifications and all that. We are going to start putting we've got a couple of ideas for the next time we record to do some YouTube specific content based on various things. So just keep your eyes open, keep on our socials. Keep on the YouTube channel and you'll get informed. Now, that's enough. I've had enough. I've listened to the sound of my own voice for too long. Anything else to say? Good. I'm Bav.
I'm Flav.
And this was ScreenMasters.